Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Hannah and I'm kind of new to this whole YouTube thing, but my past few videos have been talking about my experience moving to Bali, Indonesia. Although, as I explained in my last video, I have now left Bali. I did ask on Instagram people to send me questions about my time there and what living there was like, and I just haven't gotten around to filming a response. So I thought that would be what I would do in today's video. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so probably the most common question that I've had about moving to Bali was, how did you get in? Unless you've been living under a rock. Obviously the world's still in this massive pandemic mess and it's not that easy to travel right now. Particularly, I think a lot of Southeast Asian countries have closed their borders. And so, yeah, actually for ages I just didn't think it would be possible to go to Bali either, and then I just found out through a friend of a friend on Instagram that you could get a business visa to get into the country. This doesn't mean that you have to actually be going on business. It's a visa that allows you to stay for 6 months for the purposes of business meetings and conferences and stuff like that. You can't get a tourist visa on arrival as you normally can into Indonesia. So I got that visa through a company called Bali Visa right before Christmas 2020. It came through and I was super happy and excited. And then the whole thing with the UK variant of COVID happened and the UK was literally pretty much banned from going anywhere. And then cases started to go up in Indonesia, so they imposed restrictions and banned pretty much anyone from coming in unless it was Indonesian citizens returning home, which is fair enough. So yeah, I wanted to go, but I put my dream on hold for a little while, and then a few months later, while the UK was still in lockdown, I got a message from my visa company saying they're now letting people with the business visa in again, so if you want to go, you can. Now, travel from the UK was not allowed at that time. We weren't allowed to go on holiday or anything, but because it was a business visa, I was permitted to go. So that's how I got into Bali. And if you haven't seen my quarantine video, I did have to quarantine for 5 days. I think they've now changed that to 7 or 8 days. I also think they're maybe not letting people in at the moment again because of all the Delta variant. I'm actually not really sure because I'm not trying to get back in at the moment. Question 2, how do you meet people? This is actually a question I get a lot just about traveling in general. As a solo traveler going somewhere like Bali, where there are lots of other solo travelers, it's actually super easy to meet people. I moved into this amazing guest house that I absolutely loved, and the reason I liked it so much, I mean, it was lovely, but they just had great people there. Like my friend RJ, he took the piss out of me for having a YouTube channel. So RJ, if you happen to be watching this, I miss you, mon pot. And yeah, I met some really nice people through that. There were people coming in and moving out all the time. So some of them you didn't get to know that well, but some friends I did make, and hopefully I will see again one day whilst I'm traveling. So yeah, living there was great, and we went on road trips together at the weekend, and we had nights out together, and just a really nice good group of people. And then through them I met more people. Once you meet a few people, I think it does just snowball. And yeah, I had really nice housemates who were really good to me. So but yeah, a guest house is the way forward if you're moving there by yourself. Well, I can only speak about when I was there. So there were some restrictions, but to be honest, after living under much more strict restrictions in the UK for so long, it really felt very freeing to me. You had to wear a mask when on your bike or walking down the street, and when you go into a restaurant or a bar until you sit down. That's pretty standard. It wasn't always enforced, but that was the rule. And I believe now that cases have gotten worse. Now, when I was there, if you were riding your bike without a mask, you could get fined. But now it's you'll just get deported straight away if you're a foreigner. So just don't risk it. Just show some respect for the local laws. I know wearing a mask in the heat is not ideal. And for me, I kind of didn't like it because in the UK, you don't have to wear a mask walking around, only indoors. But that's what the Indonesian government say you should do. So you just have to stick with their rules. I'm rambling. I really am. What was I talking about? Restrictions. Bars and stuff were meant to close by 10. Some stuck to it, some not so much. And some places had like reduced capacity. I went to the famous Finn's Beach Club. It was pretty easy to social distance there because all the beds and stuff were kind of spread out, but like the one section was closed off, probably just because they didn't have the customers, I guess. And people weren't like up and dancing, which I'm told to believe like that used to be what happened, but the day I was there, that wasn't what was happening. It was very chilled. But yeah, to be honest, if you knew where to go, the restrictions weren't that heavily enforced, you know, like it was open to interpretation a little bit, and I just tended to kind of go with what other people were doing. And then like to travel places and stuff, to travel between islands or parts, you needed a rapid antigen test. So I got mine done at the Siloam clinic, and you get your results in like 15 minutes and they send them to you and they upload them to you on the eHack app. So that's all pretty easy. So yeah, probably the quarantine was the biggest way that restrictions got in the way of my life when I was there. Other than that, like it would have been nice to enjoy the nightlife restriction free, but like that is just the pandemic. Unfortunately, like there aren't as many places you can go and stuff like that. And I probably got COVID from going to a nightclub, so that will teach me. That will teach me to not be a dick. How does Bali compare to Vietnam? I could probably talk for about 3 hours about this. I think Bali is, well, where I was in Vietnam, I was in the biggest city and it's a very hectic place. Like it's famous for that. Saigon, I miss it so much. I'm wearing my Saigon t-shirt. I cannot wait to go back there. Anyway, yeah, Saigon's a super hectic place. Bali is a lot more chilled and quieter. Like there was still some traffic and stuff, but it really wasn't that mental. You know, sometimes it was like, oh, I've been stuck in traffic for 5 minutes. It wasn't that bad. Bali has more nature and beaches. That was something I really loved. Bali has like everything you want, like really cool cafes and places to go out and like nice gyms and things to do. But then you like drive past this like beautiful stretch of rice fields and like 10 minutes driving you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, and then 10 more minutes and you can be like in the hustle and bustle. I really liked that about Bali, and I think on the nature side of it, like it was so stunning. So yeah, Bali on the nature front definitely wins over Saigon. Bali is also cleaner. I mean, you do see rubbish being burnt and stuff, but it's not on the same level as Vietnam. And another thing is cockroaches. In Saigon, there's so many cockroaches because it's like a big dirty city with rubbish everywhere. Bali, I think I saw 2 or 3 cockroaches the entire time I was there, which is such good news because I hate, just like thinking about them. Oh, I hate them. And so not having to worry about that in Bali for me was so nice, and not having to see a cockroach every day. In Vietnam you see a cockroach every single day and I hate it, but in Bali you didn't, and that was so good. I really liked that about Bali. The coffee in Bali is not as good as Vietnam. Vietnam's coffee is like next level. It's so good, the way they make it with condensed milk, but also just like the rich coffee beans themselves. If you have a traditional Bali coffee, they drink it like with the coffee grounds, like the sediment still at the bottom, so it's kind of odd. It doesn't have as much like rich flavour, and most places if you find it, it's just prepared like in a Western way, not with the condensed milk and stuff and not the drip coffee. So even though there's loads of really cool coffee shops in Bali, for me the actual coffee wasn't as good. Like Vietnamese coffee all the way, any day. However, Indonesian food, personally, I preferred to Vietnamese food. I think just nasi goreng is just so good. Like Balinese fried rice or Indonesian fried rice, so much better than Vietnamese fried rice. Just like more flavour, better ingredients. I don't know what it is, but the food I had in Bali was way better. As for Western food, to be fair, like in Saigon, there was always a lot of good Western food. And in Bali there was too, but I think Bali's was better. Like everything I ate in Bali was just phenomenal. Like I've never been somewhere with as good food as Bali. For me though, ultimately Bali didn't have the energy, the chaos, the buzz that like I miss so much about Saigon. It just wasn't quite as crazy, and I miss the craziness of Vietnam. So it was maybe lacking that for me. I mean, while I lived in Vietnam, often I craved somewhere a bit more chill, but I just think sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's gone, and oh my god, I miss that place. So yeah, for me, Vietnam is still like the love of my life, and Bali just wasn't quite it. Okay, so I can see on my camera that this video is already running on a little bit, so I think I've answered all the questions, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to drop them below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really sorry about this super boring background, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.